All right, guys, let's get into this. I'm super excited to unfold the real estate framework that really kicked off my real estate investing journey because it allowed me to leave my J.O.B. and replace it with a $10,000 a month income in my spare time without having any credit, extra money, because I didn't have either. And once I started showing this to others, they were able to do the same thing. So it's not just me that this worked for. And once I really understood this framework, I was then able to go on and do $50,000 months fairly regularly. So all this took me, this, that I'm going to go over, simple little diagram, took me about a year to work out the kinks, the mistakes, iterate. Of course, I'm going to save you the trial and error and just give it to you right away so you can start using it the right way. Who's it for? Obviously, it was for me. I was a newbie with no money, credit, time, and I loved it because it was very easy to understand, simple, the fundamentals. That's what really this is all about, as we'll get to. That's why it's so fast to the cash. It's also really good for flippers and wholesalers. Like you're out there getting after it, you're doing the right things, but it just doesn't seem like consistent, reliable business. Like you're wondering, is tomorrow going to bring in what I need it to bring in? Also, landlords. Bolt this onto your existing business. It's a natural fit. And you don't have to sell your core property to get those large cash infusions. It's also a side hustle for part timers and retirees. I've shown this to shift work nurses, teachers to do in their summer, because $10,000 isn't a lot to some people. Others, it's very exciting, and 10,000 is just the base. So who am I? You don't know me because I'm an investor. I'm not a YouTuber, and I don't do fancy videos, as you can see. But look, I invest in people and property, and I teach everything I do, give everything I use. My clients get what they want by using what I got. I founded House Buyer, the premier real estate investing we buy houses company, where I did 4,000 deals. I flipped the rest, kept the best, went on to build a $12 million portfolio, and now I teach others how to do the same. So, long before that, it was a very different story. Um, my problem was always needing to get ready. Now, maybe this is a problem for you too, and I don't know who needs to hear this, but being ready isn't a state of being, it's a decision you make. You don't get confidence by and then do the thing. You do the thing and then get the confidence. So I believe we do things out of either desperation or inspiration. And I was definitely in a place of desperation. My work wasn't working. And when work doesn't work, life doesn't work. So it was a very dark period in my life. Even though I didn't have real estate all figured out, I just had to get it going. I had to get ready and be ready, pull the trigger. So what I needed was to build a future where I had more control over my income and my time. My day job replacement was to make 10,000 a month from real estate so I could afford to quit my job. That's what I needed. So that was my goal. But I had to make that 10K in my spare time because my JOB kept me working 50 to 60 hours a week. So in my desperation, I jumped at every opportunity that looked like I could make money. I didn't really have any rhyme or reason. And as you can imagine, it was very chaotic, spinning my wheels, scrambling for deals, playing the lotto for leads. So instead of moving forward, it just seemed like I was handcuffed to my paycheck. And when I finally did make the 10K monthly consistently, I could see a ray of hope, but my success was random. It was scattered, and I didn't really have everything showed out like I'm going to show you. I didn't have everything worked out, but it took me many months to get the method into working condition. Basically, this is how it started. So if you're not taking notes, start here. I focused on the fundamentals. I created a lead flow and sales process that worked consistently. I'm going to show you here in a bit. And my first step was to attract motivated sellers. I did a lot of these when I first started, and the vinyl signs. And leads stopped being unpredictable because I tracked what worked and then just repeated it. Very simple. Didn't try to reinvent the wheel. I don't recommend that at all, especially when there's already a system like this that you can just use. So deals stop depending on whether I said the right things to sellers because I just took what worked, put it into a script, and put it on repeat. Said the same thing to every seller. And then closings stopped being a slow motion train wreck because I built a checklist to keep track of everything. I'm big on checklists. Went down that rabbit hole and I love them. Most high paying professionals and positions have checklists at the core of what they do. Surgeons, pilots, top case trial case attorneys. So finally, behind the scenes, there was a process, a track I could run on and improve on. So when a mistake came in, I put it in the checklist or the process and fixed it. When I found something that worked even better, I put it in the checklist or system. And it could be repeated. And here's the exact recipe and why it works so well. And for my sanity, I organized everything into 3 steps, 3 simple steps. Each step has a specific order to make it work. Ironically, just like the assembly line I worked on, 1, 2, 3, that's how it works, and it's so simple. And the formula is calls, contracts, and closings equal cash. That's it. I know you're like, well, where's the bells and whistles? Where's the secret sauce? And I called it the investor business bow tie, still call it that 20 years later. The process starts on the right, moves people and processes to the left. Step 1, inbound and outbound calls. Generate them, make them, and take them. Those turn into contracts that I take to the closings. That's the investor business bow tie. So strangers move into step 1 by either contacting you or you contacting them. I'm big on having people come into my world, and that's called frame, which is something I teach about how to build it, how to maintain it. When you've got proper frame, you're in a position of authority. Deals work faster, better, more money. So, and I like the sideways nature of this business bow tie because the funnel for the calls is kind of at an angle. You got to push them over into the step 2 contracts, whereas most funnels you'll see are like this, right? The lead comes in and gravity just takes the person down into, that's not real life. People don't just fall into being clients. You need to move them, and I've got the process that does move them. So you move them into step 2. Once you sign a contract with a prospect, they become a client. And step 2, the contracts, is like the knot that ties you and your prospect or client together. And using the home or the house buyer contract specifically secures your interest in the property for later when we flip the deal. You and your client then move to the closing using the closing checklist. After step 3, the closing, the client becomes a referral and testimonial, and that creates this flywheel effect that builds on it. And once you get good at it, it spins more, which is like the velocity of money. Think of each side of this bow tie as speakers. The left side is broadcasting your call to action messages out to your prospects, how you can help them, who you can help, so you get the ideal clients and prospects. You don't just want everybody. You just want those few people that you can help well. And then the right side broadcasts your successful closings, the people you've helped. Why? Because your closing success messages are heard by your future prospects and clients, your peers, and those in the supporting roles. They're going to see this stuff like your agents, the contractors, title companies. That again builds more referability, right? So the result is referability for more calls. Professionalism from your checklist, showing up properly, when you need to, doing the things that need to be done, not letting things fall through the cracks because you've got that checklist, that track to run on. That professionalism is going to make more contracts happen, and then predictable income from more closings. Flywheel effect. So if you do just these 3 simple things, I guarantee you'll have a thriving business. But if you struggle in one or more, you're going to have a hard time. Funny coincidence about this bow tie. I was working the factory, and while I was developing the bow tie, it was at a GM factory where we made Chevy trucks. And you may not know this, but that's the Chevy emblem called the Chevy bow tie. And there is a slight similarity between these two icons. But look, the biggest reason why the bow tie framework works and how I flip houses works is really what most people completely miss, especially in today's environment where typically like bells and whistles are considered better, more is better. But with flipping houses fast, simplicity is king. Less is more. Here's why. The simplicity of how I flip houses provides stability, speed, low risk. It's easily repeatable and offloadable, which I won't go into this video, but using smart sourcing allowed me to then double my 10K in about 4 weeks. So I stripped the bow tie framework and how I flip houses from all the stuff that doesn't 100% move the needle in a big way, push the ball down the field. Everything else is filler. What I do is a pure play, zero bloat, and that's why the speed to a check is so fast. You get in, get out, get paid in days, sometimes weeks if it's a slow one, sometimes in just hours. Guys, I've got several case studies publicly available that show hour flips. And then just one last word on simplicity and fundamentals. It's so important in this like ADD world. You'll notice the same simplicity and fundamentals on how I flip houses echoed by all the greats in sports, art, CEOs. The swing is bad. Get back to the fundamentals. Practice the profits are bad. We got to get back to the fundamentals, right? It's always the most important part. The bow tie and how I flip houses are the absolute fundamentals to fast cash real estate. So get these fundamentals right. You make a lot of money. Get them wrong, there's going to be problems. I've seen it time and time again. Now, I just want to do a quick comparison. I'm not slamming rentals. I told you I have them. I love them. I give these to my clients. I've made 6 landlord summits. Every client who is in rentals, I help them. But add up the time to do some marketing to get a renter. Screen the renter. Maybe show the property if you do. I don't. We do self-shows. Prepare the lease, sign it, get them moved in. A typical rental throws off $6,000 a year for that work, for that paragraph of work I just described. And that's at $500 a month net, which is probably more than a lot of landlords are making per rental. Now, for about the same time in marketing, paperwork, the closing, the property inspection, I'm making $6K in a couple weeks. And that's not even like a home run deal. So I get it. Landlords say, well, you're not building up any equity. You're flipping the deal. I know. But have you ever heard of email equity? A hidden advantage in how I flip houses is what I call email equity. As you get better at step 1, your marketing, building your buyers list is a huge asset, often overlooked. Most people don't even use it. But building a buyer's list of prospects, investors, agents, landlords, even contractors. I've done so much work with contractors, even like my home support team, but also people I call in for estimates. They're looking around saying, oh, I'd love to fix up a place like this. We can help you out there. So by building up your big buyers list, you can flip even faster. Entertain bidding wars. I love it when this happens. You get several buyers. Who wants it? You know, what's your price? Let's do a round robin. And then you could pay a little bit more for the property you were considering because you've already got a buyer lined up. Why not? It's like you could make $5,000 or $4,000. Simple. Hours make $4,000, and then you can take on property you normally wouldn't. Areas you normally wouldn't buy. Price ranges you wouldn't normally buy. If you've got a buyer, it gives you that confidence to go ahead and pull the trigger. And yes, you can build a buyer's list of renters, but look, once they get a place, they're pretty much set for a while. In closing, I want to stand by this bold claim. The simplicity of how I flip houses makes it the most reliable, most profitable way to make money in real estate in the shortest period of time without money, credit, or risk. Prove me wrong. Send me anything. I've been doing this for 20 years. I've not come across anything. That's why I make this bold claim. Now, I'm not anti-guru. My mentors have helped get me where I'm at, but and gurus will hate me for saying this, and I don't care. The filler that goes into a lot of their courses that's coming out is really discouraging action and causing overwhelmed. For those of you who don't know, I built one of the largest RIAs in the country, and I see the behind the scenes of these speakers, and some of them are even touting the weight of their courses as a selling point. I'm seeing the filler in these courses causing more harm to the RIA members and guru students. Filling all these courses with just stuff is just in case thinking, and it causes analysis paralysis and confusion. Now, I call this information overload just in case. And you get it in all kinds of forms and fillers, and just in case you need it for this rare instance. And nah. Look, you buy a refrigerator, they give you a manual, great. You don't read the manual before you plug it in and use it. Nobody expects you to do that. You have the manual just in case you need it. If you got to adjust a setting, you go get the manual then. That's just in time for when you need it. I learned this, actually, the just-in-time delivery, from studying factories on how they did things. And my boss didn't keep thousands of parts laying around the warehouse floor just in case. They got just-in-time delivery. They got it just in time to deliver it to the worker, and then he puts it on the product or into the product. Now contrast that efficiency of just-in-time delivery with government. The most inefficient example you could come up with. Government schools cram all kinds of useless, forgettable information down students' throats to make them well-rounded. But if you have zero interest in it, you end up forgetting most of it and actually resenting the education like I did. So many years of investing and helping my clients, I've come to believe that real results don't come from consuming more information, especially in our information age. Real results come from implementing, getting feedback, and then making adjustments in real time with real people, and then just repeat, iterate. The biggest breakthroughs and light bulb moments for myself and my clients are on real live calls and real email support in real time, working through the things together. So you can copy what I talked about here, and it will definitely serve you. That simple framework, the simple things that we've talked about. But you could save some time if you want some hand holding and do an investor sprint with me. I'm opening up an investor sprint today where I'll be welcoming in 5 people for a 4-week intensive to put the investor bow tie and how I flip houses to work for you. I'm keeping the group small to make sure you get the help you need, personalized one-on-one, get everything covered, get it up and working for you, and each week we'll hop on a call together. 2 times a week to make sure you're squared away and got everything you need from the previous week. Get all your questions answered. Could be about something other than the sprint too, if you've got other questions. But a big thing is keeping you on track, the accountability. Self-accountability, guys. It just doesn't work out well. Waiting to get ready, be ready, doesn't work out well. So by week 4, here's the goal. You're going to have consistent calls from motivated prospects that you turn into happy clients, take them to closing, and do all this in just a couple hours a day. If this aligns with what you want to do, click the link below, fill out the application. I personally review every app. So if I think this is going to be a good fit for you, we'll get you in. The deadline is the 28th, or when seats are filled, whichever comes first. And otherwise, if you're just looking for more information, there's a link to how I flip houses for the free stuff. And finally, I got going in real estate out of desperation, as I said. I needed to make things happen. But out of inspiration, I got good at real estate and created a framework. And now I'm inspired to teach what I've learned and the frameworks that have done so well for me and my clients. And in a job, you always got to ask for permission. Can I get a pay raise? Can I take time off the factory? I had to ask to go to the bathroom so somebody could come and relieve me so I could go relieve myself. How humiliating is that? Look, I'm giving you permission. Give yourself a pay raise. Take back your time. You can do that by copying what I've talked about here or join me in the investor sprint. Hope to see you then. Link below.